Hey everyone, Neski here and welcome back to the channel for some more medieval Dynasty. Today I'm going to show you how to have the best first year and set you up for an easier time ruling over your dynasty. I wanted to make this video to help you avoid making the same mistakes myself and my friends have made. I'll break this down into seasons, and we will work our way through them and I'll explain what I did to give myself the best possible boost. I'm sure there are some things that you guys would have found as well. Be sure to let me know in the comments. Without any further ado, let's get into it. In your first year, you don't want to worry about recruiting people. You will need the infrastructure to keep them happy. Without that, you'll lose them as soon as you get them. Starting the game at the beginning of spring, your priority should be on the main questline. Not only do you get a good introduction to the world that is Medieval Dynasty, but some of the rewards you receive will be helpful in getting you off on the right foot. Following the main story, you will be asked to build your first home. For this, I'd suggest looking around and finding a nice flat location. Here on the map is one that you might like, but there are many other great spots to be found. The area doesn't have to be flat, but this does help with the placement of buildings and putting them exactly where you want. After doing this, I'd suggest getting some farmland down quickly and using your money for some seeds and manure. Onions will be able to be harvested in the next season, but berries are easier money, but only available during spring, unripened, and during summer, ripened. Both still only worth 1 gold piece each. I'd strongly suggest getting the farming down as soon as you can, as the sooner you start doing the farming, the sooner you get the skills and the new buildings. I'm going to include a location where you can steal a hoe so you can get started on the farming straight away without spending a lot of the money that you've made from berries. I definitely recommend doing this at night time just so you can pinch it and not lose a lot of dynasty reputation. I'd also recommend as you run around collecting the berries as you go from chapter location to chapter location, and making sure to use the unstuck button to send yourself back to town when you're at those really far away locations. This will save you so much time. How I never realized it sooner is beyond me. Just a quick simple tip for the berries: if you are out and about picking them and you're trying to pick with 2 hands, it'll be a lot slower than if you chuck a hammer or a torch or a knife in one of your hands and continue to pick the berries. That should bring you into summer, which I would suggest doing much of the same as you did in spring. Following the quest and chapter quests while spending your time picking as many berries as you need for money. I know it can be tedious, but this allows you to buy things you can't make before you can craft them. The pickaxe, for example. This is when I would also start talking to as many of the recruitable peasants in towns and start swaying them to like you more. Enough to join anyways. You can hold the Alt button to see what skills they are good at, so you can focus on getting ones that you want. I'd suggest a good hunter and good excavation levels. We'll get into a little bit why later. While you are looking for people to recruit, it's also a good idea to start flirting with as many of the local girls as you can, and building the affection so that you can get a wife sooner than later. They do a fair bit to help you and can provide an heir to continue playing once you pass on from this mortal coil. Once you make some mistakes through the dialogue options while talking to these peasants, it will close off the conversation. So if you find that happening and you don't want to walk all the way to a new town, I'd recommend just buying some seeds and setting up a new farm. There are so many more crops that can be planted during summer and ready to be harvested in either the autumn or the winter. As you progress through the main storyline, you'll be asked to make things like a hunting lodge at the end of summer, as well as barns and the resource center as you continue on. It's completely up to you if you want to do these now or wait till the next year. There is no real negative in waiting. It's all just personal preference. Going into autumn or fall, the berries will no longer be pickable till spring comes around. So keep that in mind and make as much money as you can in the first 2 seasons. I'd suggest doing some hunting after this to bolster your food stocks for the coming winter. Doe and boar are going to be your easiest hunts, with 1 wooden spear headshot will bring them down instantly. Bears will take 2, but they are much slower, making it an easy kill, with a big yield of meat and leather. As well as again, the story missions, chapter quests, flirting and bolstering approval with the local peasants. I will say for autumn, if you have planted a lot of your crops in spring, like if you went out and spent a lot of your berry money on just a bunch of seeds, you will have a massive yield coming in autumn. I will put a picture here that will show when you can plant the seeds and when you can receive the crops. Farming can be some amazing money, and it's really good that you can harvest the most crops when the berries are no longer pickable. Welcome to winter, where the world is not so fun, much like real winter. Animals will be more scarce, but there is some upsides to winter. Sticks and rocks will be more noticeable and more abundant in winter, allowing building to be easier and faster during this time. I would suggest that this is when you start to build your dynasty. In the next video, we'll go over how to manage your dynasty and a bit more of a look into the buildings and what they do for you. What's a must-have and what's not worth your time. But for now, if you're going to get started on building your dynasty, the most important things to have are a resource storage shed and a food storage shed. Both of these are required to keep your peasants within your dynasty. Without these, they will not have access to wood or food, two things that they require. They will also require their own house, but they won't move in if there isn't a house for them to move into, whereas they will move in even if there is not a storage building, resulting in them leaving shortly after. After you've built the storage buildings, I would highly recommend building a woodshed and a hunter's lodge. The woodshed will produce wood straight to your resource storage as long as it isn't full, and the hunter's lodge will gather food, minimizing the amount of time you have to spend gathering it to keep your peasants happy. This is why I said in summer, look for people with a good excavation level as well as a good hunter level. This will help you a lot. Every 3 years though, they will rank up if they're doing the same job. So if you have a level 5 hunter, it'll become a level 6. And there you have it, the best year you can start with. Money, a dynasty ready for populating, and a good grasp of the basics, so you know how to progress forward. Thank you for watching the video, and don't forget to like and subscribe to keep up to date with the medieval dynasty videos. In the next one, we'll be looking at all the buildings and discussing what ones are essential, which ones are quality of life building, and which ones are just not worth your time. Specifically with a focus on while your dynasty rep is low, resulting in having a low building limit. I just want to thank you all for watching this video. I hoped it helped some of you who maybe felt a little lost or had to restart since the developers changed the dynasty reputation rewards for the chapter quests, meaning you won't have to farm 100 plus mini quests to get the dynasty reputation to move on with the game. If you want to hang out, chat, see how my dynasty's doing, maybe pick up some tips and tricks or even share your own with me, pop by the stream. Every Monday at least we'll be playing Medieval Dynasty, but I stream Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 7:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time, as well as most Sundays from about 3:30. It would be fantastic to see you there. I'll see you all next time for some more Medieval Dynasty.